Welcome to the Imaginary Gallery, and today's topic is the narcissistic deck of cards, so to speak, which we say narcissistic, but it basically encapsulates all of the cluster B personality disorders. They all overlap in some ways, so whichever one, psychopath, sociopath, whatever you want to call it, it's the same theme. Basically, the story begins. Well, first off, I went to a therapist, talked to her about my own situation, and she told me that what these people do is it's like they've got a handful of cards. The handful of cards, each card represents a lie or something secret they've kept from you. And they've got like 5 of them in their hand. Well, when you deal with these people and you start to notice how certain things just don't make sense, you sometimes question things. Well, when you do question, and if you have enough evidence for your question, a lot of times these people will, like, basically, with their hand of cards, they'll just turn one over for you. So they'll reveal one little thing for you, but that's it. And of course, they've got like 4 others that they're keeping hidden. But in this case study example, which I think illustrates perfectly how these people work, we'll go ahead and start. So the background is I went to a concert with a bunch of people in a limousine we rented, and we went to Blondie, and we basically rented the limo. We went to the show. Well, there was a boy there who was with us, and we were watching the show, and the boy disappeared. And a few hours later, he showed back up with this other young boy who I guess he met during his restroom break or whatever, and evidently they fell in lust because they were like kissing and whatever, just like that, right off the bat, which is typical of this personality disorder where things are really, really quick. But they ended up, I guess, the young boy lived in a different city, like several hours, like an hour away. So we went home, and I guess the guy drove all the way out, picked up the young boy, brought him back to his house, and evidently he never left, at least for a several-year period. So, again, quick, just like that. That's the way these people work, is they want to move in quickly. Well, he moved into the guy's house, and so on. So they lived there together, and I used to hear the gossip from my roommate about what was going on with them. Well, at one point, I guess the young boy didn't come home one night. And see, keep in mind, we've got an older guy who runs a business, who works like 12 hours a day, and then we've got this young kid who's now living with this older guy, and the young kid is the subject in question. So they lived together, and months and weeks went by. Well, evidently there was a party eventually. It was a business-related party, because it was a salon, a hair salon, that they all worked at, and the kid was dating one of the owners of the salon. So I used to hear their gossip stories. Well, one of the stories was, yeah, I heard that the salon guy, we'll call him John, he was like, John's mad. Yeah, he found out that, what name would he use? Eric? Eric didn't come home last night. And so I'm thinking, okay, they're living together, they've been together for a few months, and Eric disappeared. Okay. And I said, well, what happened? We didn't know. Well, I asked again later, and I was told that, well, Eric said that he got drunk the other night, because what happened was John lived in his house, he came home, and then Eric was not there. So it's not normal, because Eric didn't work. So he wondered where he went. It turns out that Eric just disappeared all night. Well, the story was that John was mad because Eric didn't come home, and then when he finally did come home the next day, the story was, hand deck of cards, oh, last night, oh, sorry, I didn't call or come home. I went to the salon and I passed out. So that was the story. So that's all we had. So basically, in this case, he's given you a card, but the card isn't actually valid because, like 2 weeks later or a week later, there was a party at the salon that I was at, and I guess John was there, and of course he was running it, and Eric was there, and I was there, and all of a sudden John storms off and runs away, and I looked to my friend and was like, what's going on here? Well, evidently, when we were at this party, somebody else that was there happened to notice Eric, and in front of John said something like, oh, that's that guy we saw last Saturday or 2 Saturdays ago at that party or bar or whatever it was. Well, the John guy was like furious because he was told this boy had gone to the salon, passed out, and fell asleep. And now we're hearing another card being, I guess, not involuntarily being displayed of he went to a party. So this guy stormed off and ran off and so on. So I was anxious to hear what happened. Well, evidently after this, the story became, yes, I did go to a party, but I didn't do anything wrong, and I didn't want to tell you because I was afraid you would get upset, which is a common response these people give, because I've had experience with a lot of them, but I didn't want you to get upset, so that's why I didn't tell you I went to a party. Well, right now we know the guy's lying. He's claiming he was sleeping at the salon, but really he was at a party. So the John was mad. He ran off, storming off in a fury, which I understand because he's giving this person a home. He's letting the person live there for free, and yet this person is going to parties and pretending like he's not, so I get it. I've been there. Well, a few days or whatever goes by, and evidently from the reports I received, I guess after several days, both of them started developing symptoms, like their private parts had some kind of discharge or something that was awkward, and they went to the doctor together. Well, it turns out that they both had an STD. So that brought a bunch of questions in the room, because the older guy, John, he was just working and doing his thing and then coming home to his little partner, but the partner obviously was doing something else. So the partner then said, fine, I did go to the party. Card, number 1, number 2, whatever. I went to the party and I had sex with 2 guys without protection. So there you go. The hand of cards changes from I did nothing to, okay, well, I went to a party, but I didn't do anything. Oh, to, well, I went to a party and I did 2 things, and oh, now we have disease. So it was just a sickening thing, but that's what happened, and that's the way the cards unfold. And I just thought it was an interesting story because it shows how the story with these people goes from I did nothing to I did a whole lot of stuff and now you're affected too. So it's very crazy. I'll see you next time.